Thank you, Dan
Mhm.
Roth. Um, Apologies. Well, not apologies, but hey, man, we missed a great event on Monday, but we had, oh my gosh, we had again. Life happens, and it's been so crazy to deal with it. Hello, Mr. Anthony Reed, joining on LinkedIn, Mr. Randy House over on YouTube. Appreciate you guys so much. So, hello, my name is Gabe Leal,
And I'm Yvette Richardson,
and welcome to the Unwrap Love Show.
where we like to pull back the layers of love and relationships.
So,
Buckle
buckle
up
up
for
for love,
love,
everyone.
everyone.
All right. So, we got another good episode for you guys lined up this evening. Actually, this is going to be our last live stream for this season. Um, uh, Everything, well, for now, we're good. Um, So we are going to take a small break, a little intermittent break. Um, I know it was cheesy. We're always cheesy. Come on. Dan, what would you expect? But anyway, we're going to take a small break here in the next couple of weeks. Two reasons. One, we need it. Two, we got a few other projects, like the podcasts and things are working on, and we have a few announcements. I guess we could make officially now, right?
Yep, we
So,
can.
so I'll make the first announcement. Within the last month, things have gotten pretty awesome. I am now, if you can see in my hand, I am holding a book. I was part of an anthology. I am now a published author. So you can actually go check this book out now. It is available on Amazon and soon will be available in Barnes and Nobles and other stores. The book is called Beyond Boundaries: Thriving in Life's Gray Zone. Anthology that was put together by Dr. C.J. Leland, Mr. Dr. Constance Leland, and her partner in crime, Miss Suzanne Dawn. It was awesome to be invited to do that. I was there along with, let's see, 12, 15, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 27 other authors. Um, so we wrote a chapter in there. I did write a chapter in there, just kind of sharing part of my life story. So if you're so inclined, you can buy it on Amazon. 9.98, I think, is the price. Might have gone up by then because it is now a bestseller apparently. But yes, I am an published author. That's news number one. So if you want to hold the book up, baby, you can show 'em. We got two copies here. There's one
Oh, put it over
I,
there.
I got two copies. So yes, we got to pub that out. If you want to go check it out, hold it up there. There you go. That's the book. Thank you again. Part of that there. That's announcement number one. Um, I think you could call that a minor announcement. And now the second announcement that we can now officially make is, can I go ahead and do it?
You want to
Uh,
take my hand?
and there, take your hand there. So I officially proposed to my lovely partner,
Mm.
my now fiance, Miss Yvette Richardson here. Uh, and it was, oh my God, it was such a wonderful evening. Um, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. We had such a wonderful time together. We celebrated 1 year. We were celebrating 1 year together as a couple from our first date. So we went back to the place of our first date. And yeah, I asked her to marry me. And luckily, she said yes. So we are now
Yes.
officially engaged. We are a full fledged fiance and fiancee. I don't how does that pronounce?
Just both fiancés.
Well, both fiancés, I guess you could say it. So yes, Yolanda, thank you so much. We
Thank
are
you.
we are happy. Marriage always gets it. Not there yet, Randy, but we're working on it. We wrote the book of love. That's actually worked another project in the works, just so you know. So thank you, Yolanda. Thank you for being here. I don't
Oh no. I'm marrying I don't I'm marrying up.
Yeah. So, me too. I feel like I'm stepping up here.
But, I over like a lot of stuff has been happening over the course of a couple weeks. But after the eclipse happened, like my daughter was starting to feel ill, and then she had rapid breathing after she fell asleep. So we ended up taking her to the hospital. And so her dad came, and we had a moment where Gabe had to go take his kids to school. And so that's when he started talking to me, and he was like, I just want to say congratulations. I'm so happy for you. And I was like, "Thank you." And I said, "How'd you find out?" And he said his mom told him, because she, is on Facebook still with me. I'm still friends with all of his family. And so his mom was like, "Is Yvette getting married?" And he was
Yeah.
like, "I don't know."
Oh, yeah.
And so he didn't know, so she broke the news to him. And, so I was like, "Thank you." And he goes, "Yeah, y'all are perfect for each other." He's like, "Y'all have great chemistry. I've seen a couple of your lives." And he's like, "He likes attention and you like the spotlight." And he's like, "Y'all work." And he's like, "But y'all's chemistry is really nice." And he was like, "And everything that you want in a person, he has." And he's like, "It's the same with me and my significant other." He's like, they have their own, connection. And he's like, "So I think we've both found our fits." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's great." So it was really nice hearing that
Oh,
from
yeah, that was
him.
another cool thing, right, that we got to experience here in Texas is we got to experience a
Total
li it was
eclipse.
changing moment. It was so awesome. It was nothing like I have never experienced. I mean,
4
I even
minutes. It was
still
a
have
little
my look
over
at it, check it
4.
out. I still have my eclipse glasses, so, now you guys are getting a total eclipse of the heart now. Just I know I had to be cheesy, but I put them there for a reason. You can't even really tell because of the green screen, but they look like
They are
bricks.
green.
So I'm looking like I'm wearing brick glasses. I just blend in. But yeah, that was kind of cool as well that we got to experience. So I said this last month, life has been such a whirlwind of ups, downs, but that's just how life is going to happen anyway, regardless of what you expect. And it like I said, we've been living life, and it's been a little bit again, it's been a little bit tumultuous. It's been amazing. It's been so many things. We've had a multitude of emotions, but it's been great. Thrilled for what's next to come.
And also during the total eclipse, I mean, who would think about this? We had 4 minutes of darkness, and me and my family, we always have fireworks out in the country, and my dad lives out in, a rural area. So we were like, "Fireworks." And so we set off fireworks. I already posted it on YouTube. I'll share it. But we popped fireworks during the eclipse. That was amazing. Like, it was so much fun. I had it is if you've never seen a total eclipse before, I highly recommend it. Like, I wanna chase them now. I wanna find the next ones wherever they're gonna be in the world, and we're gonna go.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
I've
So
gotta see another
Yolanda's got
one.
a question for me. It says, "By the way, Gabe, what took you so long to propose?" Sometimes you have to wait for the right moment. Like I knew I wanted to marry her, and I'd made mention of it to her, and we talked about it. But, you just have to wait for the moment to strike, and, I mean, seeing the tears in her eyes when I was asking happy tears now, these weren't tears of, like, submitting or anything, Dan, so don't go yet. These were happy tears, but, seeing her face and just the emotions and everything that came across, I knew it was the perfect time, and I had waited for that moment to happen. So, yeah, I mean, we are planning oh, now we get to talk and sit down and plan the next phase, which is a wedding. So
Yeah,
you guys
so we're thinking June 14th of next year.
next year.
Yeah,
So
so we
yeah,
have a year to
you got a year
plan.
to plan, get into shape, save money, the whole 9 yards. So, hey, yeah, what's going on? Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for joining us on the well, it's going to be our last. episode for this season. We will return, but we are taking again a mild break in between here. And I'm always a proponent of saying, "Hey, give yourself a little self care, a little time away." And this is something that I think we both could really use, and like moving forward with our lives and what we want to plan
Yeah.
next.
I've got 2 classes I'm trying to finish and, like, 1 assignment due tonight. I have, like, 4 words down typed, and it's due tonight, so I've gotta work on that right after this show. So, yeah, I'm trying to stay on top of things, but this week has been crazy, and then, also one sad thing that happened last week, I lost one of my
Oh
friends.
yes,
So, that's why we didn't come on, last Thursday, because he passed away last week. So one of my good friends, Rachel, it's her husband, Dustin. If you do say prayers for their family.
yeah,
We're gonna have the memorial this coming week. But he was an incredible person, just taken too soon. Taken too soon.
absolutely. This again, this is what I'm saying. We've had such an up and down of emotions that have come in this last month. It's not something that you would expect. But again, this is the things that happen with life in general. So, we, you know,
On Sunday.
so we were just planning to do all the things necessary to not only celebrate the life of somebody, but then, just be there and be a shoulder, an ear for somebody when they really need it. Life is getting pretty tough, and it's changing for Rachel. So our hearts and our thoughts and our prayers go out to her and her family, and it's it's terrible that whenever you lose somebody, but um, at least we'll get a moment to celebrate his life, what he's done, and the impact that he's made. So that's been kind of hard too. Again, I forgot to add that into everything that's been going on. This has been in the span of a month. It's been crazy. We've had really high highs and really low lows, but we're still here. We're still still doing okay. We're still doing what we can, and that's just part of it. So I guess we can start talking about the topic for this evening. I know we had a topic planned. We were going to talk.
Yes.
We're talking about 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Um, we just were, I mean, over the last couple weeks into having discussions and ideas. This was one of them that kind of came up, and whether or not, um, when you feel like you're in a relationship with somebody, um, whether they're not totally committed or not, how do you feel about it? How do you prevent it? How do you discuss it? These are some hard things about being in a relationship with somebody, um, because you go into any kind of relationship with a partner with intentions of being there and being supportive and being there 100%. And sometimes that's not always the case. Some people, it always feels like they have 1 foot, again, like I said, 1 foot they're waiting to exit. And it leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you're the other partner. And you're thinking that you're into something that's very committed, and the other person's not. And it really can make you feel, eh, it can really cause a bad trauma for you if you allow it to go on, because then you're like, well, is it like this all the time in every relationship? Right, this is how people get hurt. Heartbreak, um disappointment, people who don't want to now no longer pursue um any kind of romantic intentions behind something, because they'll question whether or not it's true, whether it's genuine, and because they get hurt because they get involved with somebody like this.
So what causes that? So that's one of the questions that you can kind of think about when you're thinking about somebody that's always trying to find somebody better. So a lot of times I think people get into relationship and they're not 100% committed. And so if you're not 100% committed, then you're always going to have that that idea in the back of your head that there's somebody else out there that's better for you. And it's going to create problems in your current relationship because every time you look at that person, anything that they do wrong, anything that happens, like it's going to be blown out of proportion because you're going to think, well, what if I had somebody better? And that other person could be doing that to you, or you could be doing that to the other person in that relationship. So there's probably a few reasons why this happens. And one of them we were talking about before we went on the air is that just that idea, especially in today's world, that you have so many options.
Mhm.
There's so many options out there for people. So you've got dating apps, you have social media, you have just real life in general. And so a lot of times, people don't fully commit in the very beginning or they have doubts in the very beginning. And so that real relationship, that real healthy relationship isn't even formed initially because you're having this idea in your mind that, well, they're temporary. They're temporary because right now I'm kind of lonely and I'm just going to temporarily be with this person. And if something else better comes along, then I'm going to exit. And I think I ran into that problem a lot when I was dating, because you go through person after person and you start communicating and talking to them and all of a sudden they disappear, they ghost, and then you're talking to another one and then they ghost, or they come up with some reason why they don't want to talk to you. So this happens initially in the beginning stages of a possibility for a relationship, but then a lot of people take it one step further, and instead of just saying, okay, that person's not for me, and they've realized that the values don't align, the everything that you want in a person isn't really matching up. Sometimes people just go for it anyways. And
Yeah.
sadly, they jump into this relationship, not even thinking, hey, I might break this person's heart. I might, mess with their mind. They just do it because they don't want to be by themselves in the moment. And so it's really difficult, when you're navigating that dating world and you initially start this relationship from the get go. But I think even in sometimes healthy relationships, people daydream, and they start thinking, is this a, should I have married this person? Should I be with this person? And so I think that sometimes doubt can kind of creep in. And I love one of the things that Pastor Keith, I remember he's the pastor of our church. He said one time when he was talking about marriage and relationships, and he said, "Oh, yeah, like if you start talking to somebody else and you're married and you start talking to this new person, of course, you're going to find all these cool things about them and be able to open up and talk because it's the initial getting to know that person." And so before it even gets to that point of infidelity in a marriage, like you've really got to understand why you're in that relationship to begin with
Mhm.
and to help nurture the relationship that you have and stop thinking or daydreaming that you could be with somebody better because that better person could be right there in front of you.
Yeah. And to be honest, for a lot of individuals, they want to step away from the flaws that they see from, their partner. And they think, well, this person, when it's new, it's a clean slate. You don't have to see all these different things that you may or may not enjoy about your partner, right? I mean, the truth of the matter is that's why a lot of people will step out, because they think, oh, the grass is greener, right? They look at it and they say, my options would be better. My life would be better if, and, they, whoever you put there, whatever individual, they think that without actually knowing what it is and not even giving that person, your partner, the respect of having these kinds of discussions with them. I think it's okay to have these discussions, right? I think it's okay. This is what the communication part is, right? When you're having your emotions and your feelings, I think it's okay to say, let's talk about it. Let's open up about it. Why are you feeling this way?
Yeah, and that's where a lot of times you start to daydream is because you have that disconnect. You're not connecting anymore. You're not having those daily conversations. I think it's so important to have check-ins with your partner. So like even right before the show started, like Gabe turned and looked at me and he's like, "Baby, are you okay? Is everything okay?" Like he checks on my mental state. He checks on me to make sure I'm okay and we talk about it. So that communication that you have with your partner and that daily check-in and just talking to each other about everything is a way that you can stay connected, because when you slowly start to disconnect, you don't share your thoughts or your feelings or your emotions with your partner, then eventually your mind starts wandering somewhere else. And then that's where you start thinking, well, could be better somewhere
Yeah,
else.
that's why when we were talking about the options thing, some of the, like, and I made this just as because I've worked in the work in the food hospitality business in my prior uh, in my past. Anyway, a lot of the finer restaurants, their menus are very, very small. There's one page on the menu that they give to you, and there's only a certain amount of items. The reason being is because they choose to say, we're going to use these items and we're going to do them well. I think when you adopt the same thing in your relationship, right? To not have all these options out there, to literally say, this is what I'm going to focus on with this person, and you make sure that that is important to you, that is going to only help nurture what you have between the two of you, and you'll get a better understanding whether or not what you have is real and genuine between the two of you.
Yeah, because if you have that menu where there's way so many options on there, just like being on social media and you have all these, we were talking about this earlier, like you have all these exes on there or possibilities of somebody that you could have dated, and you have all them all still on your social media, or maybe you even have a dating app that you're still looking at. You have all those options. So, of course, you're going to start comparing and say, well, I chose option A, but I don't know, option X, Y, and Z, they sure are looking a little good today. So you're going to start not thinking about the choice that you originally made, and you're going to start thinking about other options that you potentially could have been in, even though those may not be any better, sometimes even worse than the situation that you're in.
And I look, think about it in this way, in terms of maybe for those who younger that might understand this. When you go onto Netflix and you open it up and there's a cavalcade of shows and movies and series to watch, and you just scroll endlessly for like 30 minutes before you even watch something. Like, you'll go through and they'll scan through this. Does this look good? Does that look good? You go through and you literally burned about 30 to 45 minutes before you even sit down and watch something and decide whether or not you're going to enjoy this. I think there's something to having too many options. I think there is something to knowing what you like, what it is that you like, what you understand about it, and then kind of staying within that zone for a while. I mean, you can always shift, you can always change. I'm not saying that's not the case, but I just, when I make mention of like when you have too much, it's sensory overload for a lot of us. You know, even now when we go through and we look at our social media apps, when we it's sensory overload, and
Yeah,
we just
look at The Bachelor and The Bachelorette when
yeah.
those come on. I mean, they have all these options, and it is difficult for them to narrow it down to one choice.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was on the dating app too, there was lots of options and lots of guys out there. And I remember one guy talking to me and he was like, "So how many guys are you talking to?" And I said, "I don't know, just a few." And he's like, "Well, if I start talking to you, then, I want you to only talk to me and nobody else." And I was like, "Okay, well, that's not going to happen because I don't know if I want to be with you." So I have to make sure that, I really like you, I'm into you, everything aligns. Then we will step forward and talk about that, have that discussion. But until then, I'm not gonna, put all my eggs in one basket. Like I have to wait it out. And so with None of the other guy other than him, and I was yeah, it didn't work out. I went on one date and it was a no-go. But there was only one other guy that said, "You know what? I'm giving," and he didn't tell me, "Give up all the people you're talking to." It wasn't like that conversation. He told me, "Hey, I wanna be honest with you. I've been talking to a couple other women, but you're different, and I want to continue talking and see where it goes with just you. So I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to talk to them anymore. I've already said my goodbyes to them. I let them know that I found someone that I think, might work out for me. And so I just wanted to let you know." And I was like, wow, wow, like, no other guys said it like that to me before. And that was
Totally
Gabe.
different.
That was Gabe. And so that's when I decided, you know what? I don't, and he even told me he was deleting the dating app, and I
Mhm.
was like, wow. So I decided, you know what? I don't want to talk to anybody else either. Like, I want to focus just on him and see where it goes, and then, at that point we'll, make that decision. But I wanted to just, devote my time to getting to know him to see where it would go.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. We should do it at a Zoom party.
Yeah, that would be
Bring our family and invite
fun.
everybody.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
See, they're not all worthless ideas, Mr. Roth. You are. You have a really great idea. I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you. Love you. Um, but in terms of when I was ready, right? My thing was I can always go back to the app. If this doesn't work, then I can always go back and start from zero again. But I thought it was worth exploring, so I took all the other options off. Because when you put your focused attention on somebody, you should give them everything, every opportunity for it to work out. If it doesn't work, then it's not meant to be. I'm sorry. You can't knock a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't happen that way. So what do? You have to find the one that fits and you keep moving on. When I found Yvette and I found out how our conversations flowed and what it was, like I said, she's different. Let me try this. This is what I want to do. And I took all the options off the table for me and I threw myself into this 100%. Um, because I thought it's not fair to like to string other women along as well and to like have them wait until like I know there's other guys that do this that will hold on to these other women and keep them at bay until they figure out, okay, she might be just that. And all of a sudden, then they do that thing. They ghost, they walk away, or they just cut it off, and it just happens. And it's so easy. Forget that there's
It
time,
happens.
emotions, and all these other things that are involved. And you leave someone questioning what the hell did they do wrong. And the fact of the matter is, they might have not done anything wrong at all. It's just that the other person was the asshole who didn't do the due diligence and taking the time and saying, look, um, I found somebody else. I know, and that's why I always was very open. Said, "Look, I'm talking to 3 other women." Same. I was a single guy. I'm sorry. That's just the thing. I can. So if I want to talk to multiple people, I can because I wanted to explore all my options. But then when I saw what was available and what I really wanted, then I took all the other things, wiped them out of the way, and just give my center focus on the one thing that I really thought needed the most attention.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people that do in that situation that he was talking about where they, kind of string a person along and then all of a sudden ghost, a lot of times, they are doing that because they're constantly looking for something better.
Better.
And then they find it, and then it's like, "Wait a minute, something's wrong with you too. I need something better." And they never stop. It just keeps going and going and going. And at what point are you going to decide, is this enough? Is
Mhm.
this enough? Are you going to stop one day and say, I'm done? Like, what's going to make you the happiest? And I think that's where you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are. You have to love yourself. You have to understand what you want. Especially, if you have strong faith, like I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I go to church, I like to volunteer. These are things that I wanted to align in somebody that I met. And when I met Gabe, and one of the first things we talked about is church. And so I waited for him to respond on like if he went to church or not. And then I typed in my answer, and it was like, both of our answers matched. I hit send as soon as I saw his coming through, and they were the same. We
And
both were
you know what that had me thinking? I was like, "Damn, she types fast. I can't fucking keep up with this." Like,
I had it pre-typed. I had it pre-typed what I was gonna say, and as soon as yours came through, pew, I hit it. And I was like, I wanted it to go through at the same time because my a lot of my fear is that I'm gonna tell somebody something, I'm gonna ask them a question, and they're gonna answer it the way I want them to answer it instead of being truthful.
yeah.
And I didn't want someone to lie to me about what they did. I wanted them to be truthful. So I didn't say, well, this is what I'm looking for in a man. And what I appreciated that Gabe did is he didn't say, this is what I'm looking for in a woman. We just told each other about ourselves. And so when I asked him about church and we typed it like at the same time, and then I sent it, he sent it, like it went through. It was, we were raised Catholic and we both go to a non denominational
Church.
church.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh my gosh. When does that happen?" And so, then he also said he was starting to get into volunteering at his church, and I told him I volunteered at my church. And now we even were on a Zoom call before the show talking to our one of our pastors at our church about volunteering for the live
We're
stream.
helping them live stream, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
"Hey, bring together all the things that I do, I have enjoyment in, and I've brought her into this world, and now how we can help and serve others doing what we do." Um, so yeah, I mean, we aligned in so many ways. But
So
for
yeah, so I've never had that thought with Gabe, like, can I find somebody better? Like, I've never had that thought, but I know it crosses people's
those minds
minds.
all the
It
time.
crossed mine. In my previous relationships, it used to cross my mind, so I know it happens. But it does in lots of relationships where people think, should I find somebody better or somebody better out there for me? And I think that you have to first work on you, your values, make sure that what you believe in is similar and the same to the person that you're with, that you can communicate, that you're not disconnected. Sometimes you have to seek therapy to be able to talk through things if you can't do it together. But you've got to see if, what was the whole reason you got into that relationship to begin with. And maybe it was a fairy tale in the beginning. Well, you know what? It can keep being a fairy tale if you allow it to be, if you nurture your relationship. Like we do, me and Gabe do things together all the time. Like I never get tired of them. So we constantly nurture our relationship, and I think that is so important, to prevent yourself from ever thinking like, wait a minute, all his flaws are starting to annoy me. Like, and that can happen where you don't love the other person based on, some people think they have defects or whatever, but you've got to, when you love somebody, you love them wholeheartedly, no matter what, like
Yeah, and
anything.
that's why I've always like this is why I've adopted a lifestyle of constantly evaluating my place in life. Why? Because couple reasons. Number one, it lets me know where I'm at personally, like mentally, physically, emotionally, where I stand. Right. So I look at those things in my life. And then you look at the other things, the other parts of your life. Like say you're in a relationship. Like you look at your relationship as well, am I communicating? Or is our communication still on a good level? Is our physical still on the same level? Emotionally, are we still there on the same level? And then you look at those things in your life and you go, okay, maybe I've been lacking here, or maybe we've been lacking there, right? But it gives you something, it gives you a point to look at, a point of reference, and to not just ignore it. Like it gives you something to go back and talk about. Like go back and communicate that with your partner, whether it's like, "Hey, look, I feel like I've been doing too much. I'm carrying too much of the load right now." And open up about it. Like, be honest about it. And I think from that point, then you can have like real transparent conversations between the two of you that lay out, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling. So they'll stop, because I'll tell you what spurs a lot of those thoughts. It's because a lot of the things that you have internally that you say to yourself, well, they should know this about me. I'm sorry, we don't read minds, but some people do think that way. He should see that I'm upset, or she should see that I'm upset, or she should know that I do work hard. Communicate it to him. Let them know about it.
And it's not always easy to, especially when it comes to emotions and feelings and if you're not used to opening up. But like I from the beginning, I have felt so comfortable. He's Gabe's been the first person that I've really felt like our conversations were easy. So when it came to the point where I had to discuss my feelings or how I felt about something, it was hard at first just because I haven't always been able to open up in the past. But after I did it and how he made me feel validated, I knew that I could continue to do that. And even though sometimes it's still hard, depending on what it is, I still tell him. I still tell him, and he acknowledges it and tells me, like, you know, just anything that's on his mind or why he didn't understand or whatever the case it may be. I mean, like one instance was we were in the beginning of the relationship. He does a lot for me, and so some people were making comments that he was doing too much for me, and then I started feeling guilty because I felt like I wasn't doing enough. And so I told him how I felt. Like I felt like I need to do more. I need to do more in the relationship, and I was sorry I wasn't doing enough. And so he like talked to me and was like, "No, like you do a lot. Maybe you don't see how much you do, but you do a lot, and I love doing these things for you. It doesn't bother me, and I'm not doing it for any specific reason other than the fact that I love you." And so it made me feel good that we could move on from that, and I didn't have to keep feeling guilty because I did. I felt guilty.
Yeah, an external. That's the thing why I say you have to constantly reevaluate these things between the two of you, because there are external factors that come into a relationship, whether it's family, friends, coworkers. They, you know, best intentions, they say these things to you, and they make you feel some kind of way, right? You start to self doubt. It's just who we are as humans. We have this negative self talk sometimes, and sometimes when something feeds that or gives ride to something that you might be thinking about now all of a sudden because somebody makes mention of it, then that's the moment that you got to sit back and again talk about it and open up about it and share about it, because the longer that you let it stem there, it's going to grow. Whether you push it down, it will continue to grow. Like I said, it's always the soda can thing. Keep shaking it, and then when the moment you pop it, something it goes everywhere. But the slow release, pop the tab, let it out, let the air blow out, literally, boom, pops, nothing happens. It's just a regular can of soda. That's how your relationships are. You let them
Yeah.
build too much, you let too much pressure build, you don't release, then all of a sudden it just explodes. Or would you like the slow, gradual release, and it just nothing ever comes of it? It's just a normal, everyday, regular thing. That's what life is. Let me say hello to Mr. Bill Bradford watching over in Pittsburgh. It's been a while, my friend. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for LinkedIn for number one, having the mobile comments actually work. That was kind of amazing too. But it would have to come at a time when we're about to end our season. So thank you, LinkedIn. Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and the commentary by Robin Williams at the very beginning in our intro where he talks about like,
Yes.
you're not perfect, she's not perfect, but the whole goal is that you're perfect
For
together.
each other. Yeah.
You're perfect, yeah, for one another. And it makes complete sense because in every relationship, it's not going to be, super exciting, fun, like every second and every moment of the day. You're going to have ups and downs. But the thing is that if you are perfect but
Each other. No, no,
for
no,
one
no. I
another.
just it just made me think about when we were discussing this before the show. She goes, "Well, our relationship's not like that, baby." And I said, "Sweetheart, we are the exception, not the rule. Like we are a little bit different." So,
Yeah, because I was reading and it was like, you can't compare your relationship to all those like great, amazing relationships on social media, and they're not all like rom-coms. And I'm like, well, ours kinda is. Like, I mean, we work through everything pretty much. Like we have our moments where we're sad, we have our moments when we're happy, like we go through our emotions
together.
together, and we talk things through. And so I was like, we have like a really good relationship. And he's like, yeah, but we are the
That's
exception.
not the rule of that. So yeah, it's not very common. We wish it was more common, but
Yeah.
most people have to go through the other part of having to deal with the relation. That's why like the old thing about people talking about relationships when they say when you break up and you get out of something, not to just hop into another rebound relationship
And
because
we have a show on
on that
that
one,
one.
yeah, on that as well. But we're also talking about those who consciously though, like not maybe not even having a relationship where they exited, but wanted to get into something because they're feeling lonely and they think this will fill that hole, that void that I have right now and make things better. And maybe I can grow into something. And that's not always I think you're cheating yourself and you're cheating that other person out of true love and happiness that you can actually have with somebody. So, it's yeah, I know it's a hard bitter pill to swallow to say, you know what, I need to stay single a little bit longer. I need to work on myself a little bit longer, especially when you see other people around you happy and joyous and enjoying life, and you see them, and yeah, it sparks a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of envy that you will have because you see that happening. Go, why can't I have that? You think that about yourself, and then you're gonna rush yourself into something just looking for that, and that, it's easier said than done. I know what it is, but it's like buying a car. I know when you're excited and you want to buy a car, you just, you want go out and find the first thing that looks perfect to you. But there's so many factors that you have to look into, like, how does it drive? Just all these things. I hate to equate women or relationships like cars, but that's the excitement we get sometimes when we want to jump into something. We get this
Yeah.
really great feeling and excitement of wanting, and it's the actual patience and the ability to have patience to say, okay, step back. Let me just take another look at this and make sure I don't have any kind of remorse because it can happen.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
people jump into relationships really quick. and
oh,
and that's one thing that I was talking to him about earlier. I'm like, do you think like maybe people might even see us and think, you know I'm gonna go, I want that, or envy it, or like, I can't remember exactly what I said earlier, but I said something on that line. But it was like, I don't want anyone to think like, in a way that it's like, I can't remember, what did I say? I
well,
said
well,
something.
well, you said it along those terms of us having a really good relationship, and that hopefully others see it and are envious of it, and
Yeah, I don't want people to
people to
be
feel that
envious,
of what we have. It took
but
a
I
look
want to inspire, like,
inspire.
kinda like what Yolanda said,
Yes,
you're
good
saying
good
we're a good
example.
example. Like, I want that to be an example of what it's like to actually be in love in a healthy relationship, because a lot of people don't understand,
Yeah, but baby, so
because they don't see it.
it took us a while to get here, and that's the
Yeah.
part that you have to explain to people. Is like this wasn't overnight. This wasn't just. It took a while for both. Like I make mention of this to her all the time. It's like if had I met you 20 years ago, even though I still you're beautiful, you're all these other things. I wasn't ready for you. I think I wouldn't have been ready for you. I had to go through all the things I had to get to this point so that we could find this point of alignment where our x axis and our y axis, if you know math, kind of intersect, and that's the point of where
The slope of
this yeah
intersection.
selection of where it actually happens and where it comes together. Any earlier point, it doesn't happen. Those paths do not cross, and I had to go through the things I had to go through. She had to experience the things she had to for us to really find this type of love and
Yeah,
appreciation and respect for each other. It's
I know. What I was going through, even what 2020, and then I was going through it again in 2021. Like, I was going through bouts of depression. Like, I wasn't ready to find somebody new or be in a relationship. And, I had to work through a lot of stuff to get to where I eventually am now. So I know me too. Like, we talk about, like, what if we had met each other earlier, maybe we could have just grown together, and maybe, but I think too we both had to go through what we went through to get to where we are today.
yeah, for us to be able to, find ourselves first, which is I think that's the other part of work of self growth, self love is having to go through that, having to live through that pain, having to experience that pain, and then go through the healing of that pain, acceptance of what it is to grow into the person that you're actually meant to be. Um, sometimes it happens very early on for people. Sometimes it takes way later in life for them to figure that out. It's different for everybody. Like our relationship, it's beautiful. I'm glad that people look at it and it inspires, and it's not made to make people envious, but it is in a way for to show people it took a lot of work for us to get here so it doesn't look like work. We even though I'm sorry we make it look easy, but it was all the other stuff that
We
was
did
prior.
pre-work. I think
Yeah.
we did a lot of pre-work, so we don't have to do a lot of work within our relationship,
Yeah.
but we did the pre-work to get to this point. And so, but you still have to do that maintenance. You still have to do, that showing of affection. I think that's super important in a relationship to let the other person know that you care about them, and whatever love language that you have. Some of us have more than one, some of us don't, but whatever love language you have, that you can show that person, and that you feel validated and you feel cared for and you feel loved. Because when you don't and you get that disconnect, that's when you start to daydream. That's when you start to think, I'm going to one up somebody. I need somebody better. You start daydreaming about your past. You start daydreaming about some futuristic person, and that can lead you into jumping into a wrong relationship, cheating on your spouse. Like,
Mhm.
a lot of problems can happen if you are not if you don't stay connected to your partner.
Right. And that's a big one, right? I think that's the point of where you have to go through these things in healing. You have to put in the self work and you have to
And that what you said, the self-reflection, a lot of people don't do
do
that.
that. That's a thing you have to partake into your life
How
for the rest of
often
your life.
how often do you self-reflect?
So for me, I always sit down and I look at it. I
You
hate to
said
sit.
always. So is that like every minute of every day,
No,
or
okay,
so
maybe not always.
okay, so
So I look at it like I read a book that made me change how my mindset works. It was called The 12-Week Year. And the whole idea about the book is that, sometimes we lay out these plans like our New Year's resolutions and we do it for a year in advance. This is what I'm going to do in a year. And how ludicrous does it sound with all the ups and downs and things that can change in your life? They say, very much like any kind of business or any kind of taxes or anything like that, you do it quarterly. You sit down at every 3 months. Give yourself a point of reference where you say quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, almost like you would if you were a business. Sit down and evaluate your life after 3 months. Where are you? 3 months is a good time
then do
to
you mark it on your calendar?
Well, internally, you can sit there and put it, but we have phones, so yeah.
But you would do it like March,
So
June.
I'll do it like say the first week of April, or I'll do it like every like I said every 3 months I sit down and I give myself like 30 minutes to an hour to look at my life. Where am I? What has changed? What is different? Have I reached some of the things that I have wanted to accomplish? Have I not reached those things? What can I do to change? Like it gives you, formulates you a plan for the next 3 months of your life. Like you, to me, to sit there and say, I'm going to plan my life for the next 5 years, it's great to have a plan. I do think you have to have a plan, but you also have to have some kind of measurable to go back and look and see whether or not you're going to accomplish these things. And I think having a timetable saying in 3 months, I said I wanted to do this. Did I do it? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question when you look back at your life. When you look back at things, yes or no? Did I yes or no? Like, don't give yourself excuses. Give yourself hard results. Did I accomplish it? No. Why did I not accomplish it? Then you write it down. Okay. These are the things that happened in my life that didn't allow me to. These are the things that I didn't take advantage of. These are the things that I did do. And how can I continue to grow on those and progress on those? So when I evaluate my life, I always take a moment to say to myself, what can I do differently for the next 3 months? And will it be enough for me to be happy when I get to that point? Like you do have to give yourself a timetable. It's like losing weight and saying, if I'm going to lose weight, what's the first thing you do when you say you're going to lose weight? You give yourself what? What do you do? A goal weight, right?
Yeah.
A measurable, right? You say, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. What's the next question?
I've lost 31 so far.
I know she has. So you say, I want to lose 20 pounds. What's the next question?
I want to lose
No, no, no.
or
How long do I want to give myself to do this in?
I don't have these memorized.
Okay, I know you don't, but I'm asking like just logically. Like when you sit down, and you see these are the quick action plans questions you can ask yourself and say, okay, I have this variable, this variable, this variable, and this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want the time to accomplish it in. And then when you go back and look at yourself in 3 months and you go, I did it or I didn't do it. Why didn't I? Or why did I? Like you ask yourself these questions and then you can go back and recalibrate everything. That's why I say you got to sit back and evaluate your life. Like it's going to give you a true measurement of whether or not you're finding content, happiness, joy, and you're going to be able to say to yourself, yeah, you know what? I did my best and I needed.
I only think about it once a year.
Ooh. Oh.
My New Year's resolution, that's all I've ever really I mean, I guess I kind of self-reflect throughout the year, but I don't like do it on a calendar and say, well, every so often and put it down. But and it's only usually like I don't pre-plan it. I just daydream. And when I start daydreaming, I think about things.
Mhm.
But a lot of times it's when I have alone time, but I haven't had a lot of alone time really. It's either kids, work, we talk on the phone a lot. Yeah. So I haven't had like a whole lot of alone time to really daydream and self-reflect because I'm always teaching and things and working. But
I think it's what
I think it's
it
important.
is important because again, this is whether or not you get to see a level of how much you've grown as at how we've grown as a couple.
Hmm.
Like I take measurables into place and whether or not what have I done well, what have I not done well, what are some of the things that I need to work on, what are the things that I have done that I can continue to like grow on. Like these are things that I look at because I'm always going to be a student of learning. I mean, you as somebody that loves to learn, I know like you strive to become better. And that's to me the same point that I look at myself. Like I look to see how can I become better? What are the things that have worked? Um like that's why, like I say, this next step in our lives, um, we're going to continue to grow forward and move forward because I don't have any intention of ever like wanting to not be in another relationship other than this one. So if I'm going to make it last, I have to look at it from each one of these intervals that I kind of place in front of me. Um, because I can't, my mind doesn't have the memory to sit back and think a month, I mean, not a month, a year, 2 years, 3 years back and see what these things are as opposed to me sitting in the present. Once the past has happened, it's the past. You can't go back and change it. The thing is to look at the present, look at the indicators that you have. I mean, history's always been our greatest teacher. Why don't you take the same approach to your life? Learn from the history of your life and
Yeah.
add these values to you and say, how can I shift them to become better? It just,
I know I need to get better by getting my assignment done on
yeah.
time. So
Oh,
he's
yeah.
kind of
We didn't even hit.
long-winded.
Yes, I know.
I do love it because we do talk a lot, but we got to try to wrap this up.
So,
It's been
yes.
1 hour and I got to get my
Yeah, we
assignment
have.
done before I fall
Oh
asleep.
my gosh, almost right at 1 hour. So, yes, we said we're going to do an hour and get out of here. So, we did share a lot of the news. Um, Again, guys, thank you so much for a wonderful first season. All of you that have been here throughout, that have been supportive, who's been a part of this journey from day one until this point, uh,
Yes.
from the bottom of our
Like you,
hearts.
Yolanda,
Yes, you are the best.
you stick around.
Girl, you need a wedding invitation.
Yes.
she,
You must be close by because
she's local.
yeah, because she saw the eclipse too.
Yeah, she's local. So, but yeah, everybody who's just been part of what we've been able to do and hopefully taken something from the things that we've shared from our own lives. And we look forward to coming back and doing this again um, for another season. And of course, we do still have the audio podcast that we're going to work on. I again, again evaluate myself and go, why haven't I done that? That's part of it. So we are pushing to make sure that we get a lot of these things done. Um, a lot of the things that I've done in my life are now getting crossed off my list. Writing a book, public speaking. I'll eventually get married here pretty soon. Before you know it, I mean, these are things that I've always had on my list. And then I can sit down and evaluate and what are the next stages for my life? There are still things that I have yet to accomplish. Um, but I need to put them down in front of me and then go do it with intention, with action behind what I do. So thank you again, everybody who's been a part of this wonderful journey. Baby, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yes, you need to come here for it though.
Okay, I'm coming.
Come meet me in the middle.
Mhm.
I love you.
I love you. I love this woman. I love this. I can now say this with great clarity and moisture in my voice. My fiance. So I love saying that. We still have fun saying it. See, it makes her giggle still. I
Yes,
love it.
we'll have to. We have to send Yolanda an invitation
Shit.
now. See,
Yeah,
she heard you.
I know. I'll make it happen. But yeah, and then we'll look to do the idea that Dan Roth had. That was a pretty good idea to have just a Zoom
Yeah.
link, and if everybody wants to come and celebrate and share with us our good news, we'd love to share it with all of you. So I guess that'll do it. That's a wrap for the first season. If you want to go check out any of our past episodes, please do us a favor. Check out our YouTube channel. That is at www.youtube.com at Unwrap Love. You can go check out some of our past episodes, our shorts. Um, Go subscribe to the channel. Share it with people who are looking for love, who want to learn about love, and just kind of share the things that we've gone through. It's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. So until we meet again, I don't know exactly when that will be. I guess this is good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.